Hey guys, good morning. We're going to talk quickly about the Pythagorean Theorem. So we talked about similar triangles in our last unit, our last lesson, and we talked about in order for them to be similar, they have congruent angles, proportional sides, and similar figures. So we're just going to kind of build off of that as we get into talking about right triangles and the Pythagorean Theorem and how to find one of the sides of a triangle if we have two of the sides given to us. How do we find that third side? So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. We're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem to do that. All right, we'll start with definitions, some vocabulary. So we have a theory. The Pythagorean Theorem is a theory. And it states that it's a formula used to find the missing side of a right triangle. So we can only use the Pythagorean Theorem when we're looking at right triangles. Remember, a right triangle is a triangle that has a 90-degree angle. So this is only used when looking at right triangles. This is the formula that is used. So we said the theorem is a formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. The c side of the triangle is called the hypotenuse. It's the diagonal side of the right triangle. Always the c side. And then A and B are the legs of the triangle, as such. So here's my right triangle. We know it's a right triangle. It's got the little box down in the left-hand corner here. That tells us that this is a 90-degree triangle. Doesn't matter if you label this one leg A or this one leg A. The legs are A and B, and the hypotenuse, the diagonal, is C. So the hypotenuse is always the C side. Okay? All right. So this is pretty simple. I suggest that you guys use a calculator that has a square function and a square root function. So here I have a right triangle. Are they giving us the hypotenuse or the legs? No. So I'm going to identify. Here's my diagonal. That's my C. I'm going to put my formula down. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, let's call this A. Let's call this B. This is my diagonal, so this is C. This is unknown. So 24 squared plus 7 squared equals C squared. So I don't know what my C is. Well, to find that, I need to square these two, combine them, add them together to find C squared. So, see, 24 times 24 equals 576, so we have 576 plus 7 squared is 49 equals C squared. Well, 576 plus 49 is 625. 625 is C squared. Well, how do I find 1C? Well, C is currently squared, so if we find one of it, we would find the square root of C squared. And if I'm going to find the square root on that side, I also would have to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to find the square root of 625. In your calculator, you would punch in 625 and hit the square root function. I don't have this on that calculator, but I do have my calculator here. So 625. I'm going to find the square root symbol. Then hit equals. And you're going to get 25 equals C. So C, the length of this hypotenuse is 25. We're using A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Alright, so you notice on this one, they've given us the hypotenuse and we have to find one of the legs. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to write up my formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Well, this is C. It's the diagonal side. Let's call this A and this B. So our A is our unknown. A squared plus 12 squared equals C squared, which is 15 squared. I know 12 squared is 144. You should memorize 1 through 15. So I know 12 squared is 144. So it's A squared plus 144. And 15 squared I know is 225. Because I've memorized 1 through 15. Equals 225. Well, now I'm going to use inverse operations to solve for A. We have plus 144, so the opposite of that is subtracting 144. So let's see, 225 minus 144 equals 81. So A squared equals 81. But we're not done yet, right? Because I want to find what A is, not what A squared is. So to find what A is, I need to find the square root of A squared. And if I'm going to find the square root of A squared, I also have to find the square root of 81. And if we've memorized our squares 1 through 15, we know that 9 squared is 81. So here, A equals 9. Alright. So again, we're using A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I'm going to label my sides, write down what I know, set up my function, and then start to find the values of the squares, then use inverse operations to solve for the missing angle. Let's do one more. So I have 3, 4, and then I have this one here. Well, here's my right angle. So this would be A and B, and this would be C. So I'm going to set up my function. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Well, A is 3. 3 squared plus B is 4 squared equals C squared. Well, hopefully you guys know 3 and 4 squared. Those are pretty basic. 9 plus 16 equals C squared. So 9 and 16 is 25 equals C squared. And the last thing I need to do here is I'm going to use the square root. Find the square root of C squared, which is C. Find the square root of 25. Square root of C squared is C. The square root of 25 is 5. So you can see that pretty easily we've identified that the length of that hypotenuse is 5 using the theorem, Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Alright guys, good luck on your homework. Practice, practice, practice. Again, if you've memorized your squares 1 through 15, the process is much faster and much easier for you. Good luck.